We wouldn't be on the back foot if the American supplemental came through, and I again appeal to Speaker Johnson to let it go to the vote and let democracy take its course. But I would say that, yes, if you put your economy on a crisis or war footing, your GDP rises because you're producing more shells and tanks and all the things that are going to get destroyed. But you're also wasting the resources and the wealth of your country. And this has limits. Russia has already spent half of its reserve budget. And I think if Ukraine can sustain it for a year or two, the Russian economy will be in serious trouble, and then perhaps President Putin might make different decisions as to this act of aggression.
But you mentioned Speaker Johnson, and he is a senior representative of a party which is very careful not to move out of lockstep with the presidential candidate, Mr. Trump, as well. Do you think it is possible that actually that support from the United States can come before the US presidential election?
Well, I hope so. The President of Poland, together with the Prime Minister, I accompanied them, were in the White House just last week, and President Biden, he's not only a president, he's also an experienced parliamentarian, is still hopeful that it will pass. As you know, there are a couple of resolutions to make the vote happen. So this is what you have to resolve within your own political system.
But no one would ever say that Poland or any other nation outside of the United States should tell the Americans how to vote, tell the Americans what is political and what isn't. But the situation has become politicized. The Ukraine support has become politicized. How concerned are you that a different administration, a Trump administration, would actually pull the rug on support for Ukraine and, with even greater ramifications, pull the rug on support for Western Europe and NATO?
Well, the success of Ukraine is now a matter of US credibility. And if US support for Ukraine were to stop, I think US allies around the world would notice and would start hedging, actually. What we can do to help your legislative branch to take a decision is to give a good example. Poland is spending well over 3% of its GDP on defense. We have already given Ukraine twice the amount of money that the US has. If you add what the European institutions and the member states have done, we are at double the money. And this is not counting the 50 billion for the future that's in the pipeline. And literally yesterday in Brussels, I took part in the decision to spend another 5 billion euros, serious money, on arms for Ukraine. And these are 43% refunds to member states. So actually the money is also double. So we're talking about close to 11 billion euros for arms to Ukraine. So we feel we are giving the United States a good encouragement, a good example to follow.